Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Trap on the Boom Bust channel, a Bears podcast by a Bears fan. I'm your host Terry, and today doing a recap of our victory against the New Orleans Saints. What is this, week 7? I'm not sure, but either way, let's do a quick recap. Won't take too long, hopefully. So watch this game, sloppy game. I didn't feel like there was a ton to say. After the game, went about my day, had some things to do, so didn't really feel compelled to do a recap, but, again, trying to keep the streak alive. So, man, I just rewatched again, just in case. And it was a sloppy game. It was such a sloppy game. I do think being able to slow things down, rewind a little bit, I was able to notice a couple things, but for the most part, it's what I saw live. It was ugly, and so I feel a little similar to the Raiders game. Like, we get turnovers and we get advantageous situations that we don't really capitalize on offense. And look, it is not looking great with Caleb. It's really not. Caleb, I think this season, and especially this past game, you see he's really only, I don't want to say efficient or anything, because that's not really the word. I think his best plays are the plays that are predetermined, and that's not a good sign. That's never a good sign. And so when you have plays that are, naked bootlegs or rollouts or sprint outs, or obviously like screens or pick plays, things like that, where it's like, okay, we're drawing it up to go here, that's where you go. One read play, don't got to think about it, boom. That is when I think he's at his best so far, and that's not good. Because when he has to go through a real progression, it's not good. The ball delivery or the timing, the ball placement, not good. When his second best thing, which he's probably most comfortable with, is running around to extend the play. And to be honest, most of the time that doesn't end up going well. Like, he had the dump off to Swift in the second half, that Swift was able to get a good game because everybody thought Caleb was sacked. And so, yeah, that's fine. But for the most part, it just doesn't look good. I don't remember exactly what drive, but we had a drive. It was like 3 straight plays. We went 3 and out, 3 straight plays of him going to the second play or the unstructured part of the play and just throwing either uncatchable passes or passes directly into coverage, and all incomplete, punted the ball. And it is not looking great. Now, I'll go to the film. I watched like the condensed replay, which is the broadcast. So I'll maybe look at the film, because I'll be out of town. I'll be up in Chicago most of this week. So maybe I'll get a chance to look at it, but and we know in these situations, if you follow this channel and you watch the film, that a lot of times there's nothing downfield. So a lot of times people will blame quarterbacks, and really there's nothing downfield. So I got to see, like, are we not getting separation? I believe in Ben Johnson's concepts, but is it the concepts that just wasn't working against the coverage, the play calls? What was it? Because we've seen times where there's nobody getting open, and that's just what it is. But there are times where Caleb misses reads, so gotta look at the all 22 to kind of see that. But like I said, it doesn't look good. It rarely looks good when he gets into those situations. The only time that it looks, again, I don't want to say efficient, the only time it looks smooth is when he has these one read plays. Like, I think even, for example, 4th and 2, because I would argue they were keeping the ball out of Caleb's hands at a certain point. Obviously, you could say we're trying to run the ball to get the clock out, but knowing Ben Johnson likes to run, but knowing the stuff he's gotten, the stuff he's called, there were moments in the second half or drives really, where I'm like, okay, like we really haven't passed at all, and they just continued to try to keep the ball out of Caleb's hand, in my opinion. But then that 4th and 2 to seal it, they did pass, so the ball was in Caleb's hand, so you can make that argument. But it was a one read play. It was completely predetermined where he was throwing. It was catch and throw, and we got it. And you give him praise for that. But again, those are the only times that it really looks smooth, and that worries me. That absolutely worries me, because again, you're going to have a lot of fans that are just fixated on looking at stats or even a win. Like, you get some fans where we could have 8 turnovers on offense or 8 giveaways and score 3 points, but if we won 3-0, they would sit here and tell you how it doesn't matter, we're great. So you will get some fans that's like, hey, bottom line, he's doing this, we won 4 in a row, you don't know what you're talking about. Look, if you know, if you've been on this channel, you know. Those people come and go every year, and there's only one way to analyze football, and this is the way. So despite all that, bottom line stuff, the actual process of it is not looking good, and it does worry me, because again, we keep talking about the levels of quarterback, and for Caleb to get to an average, efficient operating quarterback, that's not the bar. That was never the bar. And look, that might be good enough to get wins. That might be good enough, as the team gets better. But that was never what we were measuring him for in the trajectory. And on top of that, more importantly, if that's the only thing he's giving you, what are you willing to compensate him when it comes time to break the bank? Because you have to then make a decision, not only, money out of my pocket, but we're talking about salary cap impact, roster construction impact. What are you willing to give him based on just showing you an average level? Because when we're measuring and comparing to elite level play, then you have to keep it consistent. There is no, but we won, but this. No, you look at what he's doing compared to what an elite quarterback's doing, and he's nowhere near. And I'm not saying he's supposed to be elite right now, but we're looking at the progression, and the progression is minimal. I've said this like 3 straight weeks now. Caleb he's not reading the field well at all. And on top of that, now Rattler was like a worse version of Caleb. And I know there's a whole lot of college jokes to be made there, but he really was, because Caleb refuses most of the time to let the play die. And I think he's done it a little bit more this year under Ben Johnson, but it's still very late in the game. And Rattler would not let the play die. And we saw how often that turned into a bad situation for him. And luckily, Caleb threw an interception, an ugly one. But outside of that, we really got lucky that it didn't produce more turnovers, because like I said, he was fitting some passes into places they didn't need to be. And I don't know what the discussion is, the philosophy there with Ben Johnson. And I don't know even if you can coach this out of him, but he has to understand when to just let the play go. Because there's way more negative things that can happen than positive, including getting hurt. So I think the pass protection by far this year has been better, especially early on in the season, because last year over time we got a lot better. People won't really give it credit, but we got better, especially with the stunts and stuff. But ability wise, we're a lot better this year. And so it's not a question of him having a panic back there. It is a question of him making better decisions. And sometimes you just got to live to fight another day. So, yeah, that's how I feel with Caleb. Like I haven't watched the Saints besides this game. So, I mean, I know the players, and in my mind, I want to say that's about a average run defense. So to see our run game be that effective, I think coming out of the bye week, I've seen Swift be a lot more decisive. And then Monangai coming in, he was running decisively as well. I think that's a bigger piece, or the biggest piece to the run game that I've seen in these last few games, because earlier in the season, I just feel like there was too many bad reads by Swift. And I don't think it's perfect between the two backs, this past game. But as you can see, when you make that determination, put your foot in the ground and get north and south, good things can happen. I thought both of them did that well. They read the cutback well, and we were able to capitalize off that. So the run game and a little bit of Swift in the pass game completely, I wouldn't say carrying, but really bolstering the offense in a spot where, I mean, first of all, you look at it, like I said, sloppy game. The penalties, like shooting ourselves in the foot over and over. But then you look, I think I counted 5 or 6 red zone trips, and we came away with 26 points. Like, that's not good. That's not good at all. Like I said, similarly to the Raiders game, like you get all these opportunities that you don't fully cash in on. And I know there was a graphic saying we're like top 6 or whatever in points off turnovers. That's because we've gotten into these games where we've been getting a lot of turnovers, and for the most part, yeah, we got the field goal. We're so deep in the red zone, so we've got probably more opportunities than most teams. But that doesn't mean that we're doing good. Like, those points should be way higher. Like, especially, I'm sure if you looked at the stats and looked at like points per red zone attempt off of turnovers or, whatever, it's probably not good compared to the other teams. So this was just another game like that, where when you go against a team, and to an extent, you could say a lesser opponent with the Saints. I think Rattler really held them back, to be honest. But that doesn't mean they don't have talent. But sure, you want to say a lesser opponent. When you get into a game against a lesser opponent and they are giving you plenty of opportunities, then you have to, or not have to, but if you're a true contender of a team, you blow that team out. We're not talking about a Chiefs going against the Raiders. I'm talking last year, where it's a division opponent and they just kind of know you and it's a tough game. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about where this was clear. Not only were we up 20-0, but the amount of times that they gave us opportunities, we should have blown them out, but instead we're getting penalties on defense, extending drives. We get penalties on offense, getting us to 3rd and long when we know we don't operate well on 3rd and long. We even got bailed out. We should have had 3 less points because 4th and 2, we fumbled the snap exchange again, and it should have been a turnover on downs, but because it was a penalty, we got bailed out by that penalty and was able to get a field goal. So very, very sloppy game. Defense was rallying. Saw some good things. I still think people really just don't understand how good the combo of Edmonds and Edwards are in the pass defense. And Rattler was just ripping it. He was not. He wasn't looking at coverage. He wasn't looking at defense. He was just throwing it wherever he wanted to throw it. And he heated up a little bit and made some good plays, but man, he was really shooting that team in the foot. But then we shot ourselves right back in the foot to match them with some of these penalties to extend the drives. And even though we end up holding, didn't give up, that many points as we could have, still, that's just not the type of football you want. But defensively, man, we're blitzing them way more. It's not just Kyler Gordon back blitzing him. We gave a lot more blitz looks. Now that might have been just a Rattler thing that coach wanted to see. And he's the former, I forgot that was a bit of a homecoming for him since he was the Saints coach, but I think also that's just going to be our blueprint. It looked good. I think it looked good. I mean, I think the Saints line is a lot better than people know. And I like the blitz looks. And it was a lot of simulated pressure, not a ton of 6 or 7 man pressures, a lot of 4-man pressures. And it looked pretty good. So I was happy with that. Coverage was good, really good for the most part. It's the same stuff I've been talking about this team for a while. The difference, I think, is that instead of just straight up pass rush, we were heating it up, especially in the second half. And that helped us get some good things out of that. But yeah, we just got to be more disciplined with the penalties, man. Things that just should not have happened. And we capitalized off Rattler's mistakes for the most part. So that was good to see. Yeah, that's really it for the defense. I mean, so overall, like I said, when we're looking at the maturation of the team, when you continue to see games like this in the Raiders, where you come out like winning, like, I won't say barely, but you won like okay. You didn't have a convincing win when you should have. That's a sign of a team that still has to mature, a team that has to learn how to win and really close games, for whatever reasons that might be. And I think for us, is really our offense just has to be able to sustain drives more. And we got to have a better passing game. And so that's kind of the things that I saw. I feel like there was something else I want to mention, but I can't remember it now. So anyway, go to the comment section. Let me know if you got questions and thoughts. Share it around. Get the convo started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and remember, stay up and bear down.